What did I tell you guys? I've been saying for the last year, it was never about the hostages. Ben-Gvir literally said himself that he scuppered any deal to release the hostages because, of course, the hostages, claiming the hostages back, trying to free the hostages was simply a pretext, a PR campaign in order to continue the literal genocide of the Palestinian people in order to claim the land. This was all a ruse, and those who still continue on putting out propaganda that this was all about the hostages, this was about getting justice for the hostages. How do you explain that more hostages have been killed by Israel than have been released by Israel? Now, and you add into the mix, the sheer imbalance of power that, and the very fact that the entire, Gazan people, and of course the West Bank and the people of Israel, they themselves they are hostages of a brutal colonial entity. Just think of Gaza itself being under siege since at least 2005, 2006. But even prior to that, you had Israeli officials saying that Gaza is the world's biggest concentration camp, whereby there is a nation that controls what goes in, what comes out. There's a nation that obviously destroyed Gaza's only international airport in the millennium. So they are under siege, and so irrespective. I'm not going to wax lyrical and talk positively about HMAS. Of it, I don't necessarily, not that it matters what I think, but this was merely a response to how the people of Gaza were treated. This is pure terror. This is pure terror, but at a state level. In fact, it's worse than terrorism. It is a genocidal campaign, because nobody would say that Osama bin Laden somehow worse than the Nazis. Nazis were obviously worse than Osama bin Laden because the Nazis had the state apparatus to kill many, many more people, and there was no discussion, regarding the so-called other, in terms of bringing them on their own side, because they believe in intrinsic differences. And this is what we are seeing with the Israeli state and how it treats the people of Palestine. It treats them as if they're subhuman, they're different, and that ideology of treating them different, even if they were to try and intellectualize it and say that it is because of Islam, this is all a ruse in order to take over more land, because all of the justification to take over more land. So don't let anyone tell you that it was about the hostages. Don't let anyone tell you that it was about justice, because they're piling upon injustice, tons upon tons of injustice in order to carry out this insane fictional, narrative that somehow they deserve the land. It's a God-given right, and it's pushed by people who not necessarily even believe in God. In fact, the most religious Jewish people would be against the state of Israel, seeing that it was not God-given, it was not brought about by some Messiah. It is obviously the state of Israel is a colonial entity that was inspired, that was propagated by prior imperial ventures, prior colonialist entities like the Great Britain, and now supported by another settler colonial entity called the United States, which itself was brought into fruition, was manifest by the acquisition of land by disease and by mass killings of the indigenous people of America. So don't let anyone tell you that was about the hostages. When you go into any metropolitan city, you might see posters of people. It's pure gaslighting of these posters saying, "Oh, this American or this British hostages, was taken on October 7th." It was never about the hostages, because if they cared about the hostages, they would be completely against the Netanyahu government as it's killing more hostages than it is saving. If they cared about the hostages, then they would be against Ben Gvir. But lo and behold, it's all a pretext in order to continue their colonial ethnic cleansing campaign and genocide. Anyways, more on this in the future. Please like, comment and subscribe.